Well, hi everyone, Mickey Jacobs here, 4:32, so I'm 2 minutes late. Hi, good to see you guys. Come in and say hi. Let me see who is listening, who is viewing, who is watching. If I know last time someone was saying that I'm too what was it? Not enough volume. So I'm going to try and talk louder, and I think I put it all the way up. I'm going to check. Yes, I did. So hi. Let me see. Interesting topic today, more common than you think. A lot of questions that have regarding the negative entities, if you will. And I wrote down the question that I actually been asked over time, whether it is in reading or just that people that come. Who is doing that? Oh, Jamie, hello, honey. I see your heart popping before I saw your name, so that's really hello, honey. Hello, thank you for joining me. So I wrote the actual specific questions that people repeat, and I put it here near the computer. So I remember, hello, Brandy, thank you for joining in, as you do every week. I greatly appreciate it. So I will cover those questions because I know they repeat a lot of misconception, a lot of misunderstanding. A lot of people have different concepts or belief about negative entities, and that of course has to mix with religion upbringing, with culture upbringing, with fear, Hollywood, on and on I can go as to why I wanted to make that subject that is very important actually quite clear. So I'm going to go kind of topic by topic. Let me see. Hello, Karen. Karen. Did you met me, Karen? I don't know, I don't remember. The name is familiar, honey, but I am not sure if you came across a reading or event. But you are in Sonoma, so I often go up to Sonoma. And well, hello, thanks for joining here. Clayton sitting here and somehow laughing. Oh, fun reading, Karen. How lovely is that? Yeah, I knew I remember the name. A lot of people ask me, do you remember reading? No, I do not remember readings. It's not designed to remember, otherwise it's too heavy. So it's quite magical. Once reading is done, you kind of get the memory wiped, if you will. Also, the technical aspect that there's a lot of people, so obviously you don't carry the information, but I did remember the name. So thank you very much. Clayton here staring at me and laughing. I'm not sure why, but that's okay. Yeah. So let me see what I put here. So, hello. Okay, let me say hi. So this is Eilish. Hello, Eilish. Hello. Yeah, very noisy child that we adopted from a puppy mill. Apparently the breeder decided that she's defected, so obviously ready to not use her anymore. And then Clayton and I rescue her as we do with all our animals. So first of all, I think the first question I ask is, what did I put here? If they real negative entities. Now, I use the phrase negative entities. Sometimes people use the phrase demon, Satan, what other names, negative entities? I don't like to use those phrases. I don't like to, other than the teaching, I don't like to entertain the topic of any negative entity. Hello, Marianne. Hello, honey. I like to work with the light. That's what I do. I like to teach about the light, but sometimes there are a little less pleasant subjects that we need to discuss and for me to teach. So I talk about it. But negative entity just refer to, again, whatever people believe the name is out there, including Satan and demon and God knows what else they use. And that's what I mean by negative entities. Now, right off the bat, are negative entity real? Of course they're real. Obviously, it's everything good, everything bad. Some energies are better than others, meaning some vibrate in a higher frequency and some are more dense. The more dense the entity is, the more dense the energy is. You can say sometimes the more dense the soul is, the more of negative vibration it is. And the higher, who is this? Hello, Krista. Hi, honey. And the higher the vibration, the more, I don't know if I use the phrase pure, I guess, or the more positive the entity is, or the soul, or the spirit, or again, there is many names. Hello, Tammy. Hello, honey. So are they real? Yes, of course they're real. Now, there are various negative entities. There are all kind of different negative entities. So kind of keep your mind open, even if it doesn't quite something that you believe, then you take what resonates with you with my teaching and you leave the rest. And usually teaching to people that already watch spiritual video or spiritual teaching, it would resonate for the truth that you have within. And you know, I always say that about my job as a spiritual teaching, to merely awaken the memory of the students, if you will. So there are all kind of negative entities. There are negative entity that, let's refer to it as the human souls, meaning us. That sometimes souls that incarnate into planet Earth and allow the ego to take over and obviously create havoc, whether killing someone else, whether doing negative. Of course, the more negative, hello Dana, and more negative the action is, the more dense the soul will become. The soul, the higher self, not the overall soul, the higher self, which is the percentage of the soul that incarnate within the body to experience life or another incarnation. So it's not the overall soul, it's only part of it. The rest of the soul remain in the spirit world, while we take with us a part of the soul, some part of our overall soul reside in the body to experience life on planet Earth. So sometimes if the personality, the ego take over and a human being frankly become evil, which a lot of people unfortunately are. So the soul within the body, once the person dead, the soul exit the physical body, but it's very, very tainted. It's very, very dense. It's very, very negative. Now, of course, we're not talking about the typical crime. Usually, I would give example of maybe serial killers that keep coming or entering. Hello, Kevin. Hello, honey. Keep entering, Tony. Hi, Tony. Keep entering planet Earth with the inability to overcome the ego, to overcome any negativity, and they repeat doing harm, if you will, again and again and again. So at the time of death, when the soul exits the physical body, it's once again tainted. It is unable to merge with the rest of the energy of the spirit core of the soul, and that specific part that incarnated into a body can cause harm to living being on planet Earth. And that's what we would call negative entity. Sometimes I guess it can call ghosts, harmful ghosts or harmful entities that can cause harm or can cause havoc, because what's happened is they are not doing it anymore from planet Earth, but then they cross over and they can do it from the spirit world. So do they exist? Sure, they exist. So that's one type of negative entity that us human being can cause our soul to be tainted with enough negative action or negative harmful behavior, and when we cross over, then obviously it is continue. Another negative entities as actually of different beings. As you know, me teaching over, hello honey, Moshe make me so okay, I'll try my best, but just the way I am. So remember how I was saying in different videos that planet Earth is not the only dimension that we enter planet Earth in order to grow, meaning there are a lot of other dimensions that we go to, meaning there are indeed different beings in the universe, in the galaxy. Sometimes some of those beings are indeed not pleasant, or we can call it negative entity. Sometimes I guess you can call it aliens. So that also exists, but of course today, because we live on planet Earth and the teaching is more about negative entity that we can interact with or we can come across with, then we are talking more about negative entity of human souls. So do they exist? Yes, they exist. So let me give you the good news. So yes, they exist, of course. The good news is that everything operates on law of attraction, meaning what we project, we get. We also have a great amount of protection. We have a guardian angel, we have angel, ascended master, our beloved spirit guide that watches over us, departed loved one. So that is why very, very rare that when a person live life for the best of their intention, we do not have to be priest or nun or perfect, obviously, which we never are. So when we live life, we have enough protection that negative entities cannot harm us. Because what spirit do is they create a shield around us that protect us from any harm. And of course, I'm not just talking about negative entities, but so we're very much protected. However, due to law of attraction, meaning we get what we project as energy being, sometimes we can attract negative entities. Negative entity would be attract to negative human being or negative energy within people's body. Over the years, I came to realize that the negative entity would really be attracted to a compatible energy for them, meaning if there is an evil human being on planet Earth, they would certainly attract that from the spirit world, meaning evil would attract evil. So also people that on drugs or addicted people, because when people are on drugs, unfortunately, when people are addicts, and again, I don't mean do recreation drugs, that's not what I mean. I mean people that live that lifestyle. The drugs take them below awareness. They become energetically heavy. They become ungrounded. They become unable to connect to spirit, and their spirit unable to get to them, as spirit always try to kind of get to us, inspire us, be with us, protect us. So people that are addicts can also attract to themselves negative entities. Very common, very sad, yet very common. So another way we can attract negative entity is by simply doubling into calling spirit like in a Ouija board. I know that a lot of people think it's only Hollywood Ouija board. Not at all. I came across enough cases throughout my work working with people that indeed kids, maybe more kids, but some adults, that they were trying to connect to the spirit world via Ouija board. Now, why Ouija board attract negative entities? Because negative entity knows that it's easy to get to people via Ouija board. It's almost like a common knowledge out there, if you will. Maybe it's not quite the right English. Nonetheless, in a Ouija board, when you just kind of send it out to the universe to see whoever come, usually if it's within the energy of partying, drinking, then you combine two bad things at one, meaning, there is, of course, everyone can connect to spirit, but it has to be with a great respect. It has to be with a great protection. It has to be to communicate with spirit, to communicate with the light, which of course that's all we should ever aim for, communicate with. You have to lead, as I said a few minutes ago, a fairly reasonable lifestyle. You have to be a fairly reasonable human being. Fairly is because, again, we're not talking about perfection here. So if you have a party and you drink and you just mess with a Ouija board, you can attract negative entity to come forward. So again, if you are leading life out of love, if you're spiritual, not just spiritual, if you obviously even religion, of course, if you know about the power that we call God, if you decent to yourself, to loved one, if you just live life with the normal difficulty of planet Earth, you cannot technically attract to yourself negative energy, because once again it's like mixing oil and vinegar, oil and water, and that would not work. So the fear there about attracting negative entity is, from my experience, it's very, very rare that the average person would attract negative entity. Now, sometimes some people It's a noisy home. Sometimes some people can get into a home or can get into an office or a new place where there is already a negative entity there. That is common, but again, it would apply the same concept. First of all, if you are fairly grounded, you have the team of spirit, you have additional spirit that protect you. And usually a negative entity would not be able to reach or to get to you. But as to what to do, well, I know that sage, if you think you have an uneasy negative entity within your house, a lot of people email me and they hear voices and they think it's negative. Well, 99% of the time it is not negative. The reason we hear noises is because we have around us all the time, every day, every minute, a lot of, our own, a lot of, honey? Too noisy, I can't hear. A lot of, we have our own, obviously, protection. So what you can do if you have negative entities is once again sage the house, very effective. Sage would lift up the energy, if you will. You can also call someone. I do not necessarily find it necessary to call someone. I believe that you make sure that your lifestyle is once again you're decent, you live out of love. By the time you sage the home, by the time, a lot of time, it's appropriate to call the archangels. The archangel very much can get involved to clear up a space. So there is a lot of very simple things that you can do. You don't need to do what Hollywood show where you do an exorcist or call someone. I don't find that necessary. And again, we're talking about very, very rare. Now, I also wrote down a question as to how you can detect if someone has a negative entity near them. Unfortunately, when, often, not often, but when you see in the street when people talk to themselves, usually people, unfortunately, may be homeless, maybe are on drugs, maybe are addicts, and they kind of talking to themselves. I found that that's sometimes a negative entity when you see the person is not quite there, meaning talking with other. The behavior can be very abrupt, very weird. A lot of people with a lot of cases as well, like famous cases, where they say, someone told me to kill, someone told me to do that. That can be also very much an influence of a negative entity. So you can tell that is kind of an abrupt, unusual behavior that can be influence of an unseen energy. And that is, for the most time, very much a negative entity. So unfortunately, that can happen as well. What I suggest is do not think about it. The information here is merely to give you more spiritual information, like I do every angel chart, just provide information. You know that it's there. You know that there are good energies, soul, spirit beings. There are bad soul, spirit beings. Of course, that's just common sense. Everything have to have a balance. What does that mean? Me too, Kevin. Did I miss something else that you were saying? I don't know what that means, me too. Tell me if I miss any one of your remark previous to that one. So the information is merely to kind of expand your knowledge of spirituality. And it's not, once again, it's not always pleasant subject. Sometimes it's not. However, don't think about it. Don't study about it. Don't call it name. Don't right away assume that just because you hear noise in your house, everyone hears noises in the house, because we constantly have spirits around us. And as I tell often people, sometimes spirit, I'm talking about spirit guide, angels, they cannot tell how noisy they are. And sometimes they can be noisy if they move something or touch something. Certainly, my sister is watching. Oh, that's lovely, Kevin. That's lovely. Sometimes they cannot tell how noisy they are, even if they kind of walk around. So it's simply your delightful team in spirit, departed loved ones sometimes departed loved ones want to make noise, to make their presence known to us. They certainly often mess with electricity and, and the phone, and it's easy for them to do that in order to make their presence known to us. So once again, 99% of the time that we hear noises, that we know doors open, are not negative entities. And the best way for you that they are not, because you reflect it on you. If you know you're a decent human being, you cannot possibly attract it to yourself. If you won't double with that, I think it's called in English, double with it, if you don't mess with it, if you don't energetically feed the concept of negative energies. Words are powerful. If I sometimes do come across people that very much fascinate with the devil, fascinate with demon, fascinate with a negative entity. That's the same thing as attracting them, because everything is energy. We are energy. Our words are energy. Our thoughts are energy. Certainly our action. So when we engage or feed that subject, we can attract that. Why would you want to do that? Put that same energy and feed angelic interaction or spirit guide or departed loved one. So that's the way I look at it. I really tell people, don't think the worst right away if you hear noises or and if it's indeed something that you feel within yourself that it might be harmful, then do what you need to do. You can call someone, but basically, again, sage and prayers will do the work. Let me see what else I have here. So I put here how to protect ourselves. So of course I cover that. You just worry and cover your base about your behavior, about your life. Live out of love for the most part. I don't want you to think you have to be perfect. And if you have a little bit imperfection, you attract negative. It takes us a long time, a long, hard, a negative behavior ourselves to finally attract that entity, because usually that wouldn't happen in addition to the help that we get in the spirit world. So I hope you enjoy that. I don't know, every time I finish a video, I remember that I forget something, but I try to kind of keep it a little bit short so it's not too much. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining in. I will continue to come up with topics that I think would benefit your spiritual growth and certainly improve your life. So take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Take care.